Hello and welcome for an interesting time, it appears, in the hobby. Speaking as a small trader and speaking to other small traders, sales are down at the moment, which we presume means that because the sun's out, people are going out for a day, there's not a lot of money to go around, and there's not a lot of money to spend on your layouts. What I would ask is, for small traders like us, every sale matters. It doesn't have to be us, but if you have a choice between one of the big guys like Hornby or going to a local shop, visit your local shop. You might spot a couple of bargains, and you might spot a couple of things that you didn't know were available that would be suitable for your layout. And also, it can make for a bit of a day out even if you don't spend. Why not visit our website? The address is down below, and just have a look and see what we've got. Even if you don't buy, just coming to visit is a very welcome help, because apart from anything else, you might spot something that you come back to visit and buy later. Talking of trade, it's very refreshing to see that Accurascale is getting on board with TT120 with a couple of model launches announced. Now, regardless of the models, I think this is a positive thing, because although Hornby initiated TT120 along with Pico, it is always a big test when other manufacturers decide to jump on board. That means there's more chance of it continuing and more choice for us, the consumer, and that can only be a good thing. And of course, the likes of us at NWINS 3D Models, you will be able to find a range of TT120 buildings and so on, so it helps us if there's more choice in all departments for the modeler. And although I don't model TT120 personally, I can appreciate the need for a range of products, which is why we try to chip in with what we can. And obviously we do get feedback, and we are working on some new products, so keep an eye, as I said earlier, on our website. But what do you think? Leave your comments below. What do you think of this addition to the TT120? What would you like to see manufactured in TT120? I think more LMS small locos. It's good to see that several people have independently come on board with the wagons, and I think also some more Great Western. I think that is the one glaring omission from the I'd like to see a LMS Ginty for small loads and so on, to make your layout more than just an express, and I'd like to see a pannier, basically, which could basically follow the old 00 formula of having very similar chassis, if not the same. So I think that would be what I'd like to see. What would you like to see? What models are the glaring omissions for you in TT120? And what eras would you like to see as well? There's a lot of people have gone for the modern era, because there's a lot of modern era available. A lot of people obviously have gone, and it's perfectly understandable why Hornby went with LNER first, because the Flying Scotsman and the Mallard are internationally the locos, the British locos that people will recognise and want to buy. So that makes perfect sense. But now we need the strength in depth, and this is why, as a Western modeler, I would say let's have some Great Western and some older stuff as well. That's my personal view. I don't know what you guys think. Why don't you leave your comments below? Are you happy with more modern image, or would you like to see some more 1930s, or would you like to go earlier, which is a boom area in 00? And if your manufacturers are watching, then hopefully that will help you as well. Now, moving on, we are going to a show this weekend. Sorry, little itch. And it's a new show that we haven't done before. It's not a new show, but it's new to us. And that's at Colne, down in Wiltshire, Great Western Territory, speaking of Western. And, of course, we'll be there with our Rapido stock, which includes, we've got some B sets still, and Rapido tell us that they're out of stock with B. As I was saying, all of our B sets come with our extra value pack. So if you want to beat the queues at the show, the address is below. And if you want to visit us at the show is this one. So we'll see you at the weekend. Do visit our stand, have a look. You might see something that you haven't seen before. That is the idea of going there. And if you run a show, preferably somewhere in the Northwest or Wales perhaps, do drop us a line. We might be interested in taking our trade stand to visit your show as well. Now, talking of products and shows, we've previously been showing the Mark Holcroft engine sheds for 009 only on our show stand because they were selling as fast as we could put them out. But as we haven't had many shows recently, we've now put them on the website, and Mark has added another smaller engine shed after customer feedback. So take a look at this. Now, we've been selling these absolutely excellent 009 engine sheds by Mark Holcroft for quite a while on our trade stands, but we haven't put them on the website until now because basically they've sold as fast as we've put them on the stand. Now, we're not actually doing that many trade stands at the moment because there aren't that many local shows at this time of year. So finally, we've put them on the website. Now, I've actually painted this one, which is a prototype, using acrylic paints that I just bought from Hobbycraft and mixed up to get the various shades. So, for example, for the slate, I just mixed white and black until I got the right consistency. But as you can see from the glimpse inside, Mark, as usual, has gone to town on every detail, not just the outside, but the inside. The window frames are beautifully detailed. The wooden beams at the top are beautifully detailed. In fact, what I didn't do when I was painting is actually highlight the bracketry, the metal bracketry that he's actually printed into the rafters. So, you know, it's even more detailed than my paint job shows. But the doors are posable. I've decided to glue them for the sake of protecting them when they're traveling to shows. And as you can see from the back one, you can see the light shining through the slats, the individual slats on the doors. Now, I've glued the back door closed, although it could be open for the locos to run right through. And the detailing is just, as well as the individual slate on the roof, you've got the individual slates on the walls. You've got the little vent above the doors where the smoke comes out. I'll come back to the chimney on the building at a later date because you'll see what I'm talking about. That isn't actually what you're expecting. And look at the detailing. It's just, you could actually be looking at a scaled down real building. And painting it, it really does bring it out. And I've just used very basic acrylic paints. No undercoat at all. No primer. I've just painted straight on to the resin just to show how well it takes the paint. And it just really does pop out. And you could be in North Wales, which is exactly what it's meant to be. Although you could quite easily paint the walls in a slightly different shade or colour of stone to create stone from a different area. It could be sandstone or it could be limestone. You could really make this very personal. Now, I hinted about the interior. Now, take a look at this. He's put a separate floor on the inside, which has got a bench. It's got an anvil. And in the corner, that isn't a fireplace. That is your forge. So the workshop is fully kitted out. You paint it up, you glue it in place. There's very little assembly involved. It's basically the doors, the wooden workshop floor, and the rest of it is already in place. And there you go. There's those rafters. If you look very closely, you can actually see the individual metal brackets that are supposed to connect all the wood up. And unfortunately, it was just I didn't paint that up. I just couldn't do justice to it. But have a look at that interior. You could put a camera in there and it would be the real thing. And that's the whole point. Mark really does go to town on his details. So moving forward, and as you can see, there's a bench, there's further around there's an anvil, you've got a little grinding stone. So basically you've got all the kit you need for your workshops to maintain the locomotives and your stock. And as you can see on the inside, the window frames are just as beautifully detailed as they are on the outside. It really does look fantastic. But that's not all. Now, after customer feedback, Mark came up with this, a smaller version of the engine shed, no less detailed. It just doesn't have the workshop area on the inside, which allows it to be narrower. It's slightly shorter, but you could still get 2 quarry hundredths in with no problem at all, probably something a little bit larger as well. But the beauty of it is that, as with all of Mark's models, it's incredibly detailed. I mean, look at the slates on the roof, on the walls. Now, painting these with the acrylic paint really makes them pop out. And all I've done, like I said, is I've mixed up the paints to create the shades that I needed. And I've created a slate shade, which I've painted the whole model. And then what I've done as well is I've put a little bit of white on the brush and then almost brushed it off on a bit of paper so that there's barely any on. And then I've just gone over it. It's called dry painting, and it highlights, puts a little white highlight on the model, and it brings out the slate effect. And that's all I've done to highlight the different stones, and it works a treat. So it really is simple because there's no assembly. The only thing on these that you need to fit are the doors, which are posable. Again, I've glued these in place because that makes it easier in terms of, they're going to be in the best display position when they're at the show stand. But again, these are on the website, and you can go to www.nwinsmodels.co.uk and you'll find these there. I mean, look, the rafters are just as detailed. One extra thing Mark has, after I joked that the only thing he hasn't put on is the cat in the rafters, he's actually put a cat on one of the rafters on this model. So if anyone paints one up and highlights the cat, I think I'll throw in a slate wall set. So there's your challenge. Buy one of these, paint the cat. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that little snippet, and we will be back next time, and we'll bring you some details of the show if there's time, and hopefully we'll show you some of our 009 models that we've mentioned in the past and some of the models we've bought, just so that you can see them running and we might even do a running session with our layout which is for sale, which is still for sale. So just to play you out, we will show that little clip of the layout that we're selling. Basically drop us a line if you want to purchase that, and we can make arrangements. All the details on that were explained last week. So wishing you all the best, everyone take care, and we will see you next time.